Hi, this is Mario at Grit, and I'm going to show you how to replace a parking brake arm. This applies to either side of the chair. So first off, we're going to loosen the chains, and that's just like the chain tensioning adjustment procedure. Using a number 3 Phillips head and a 13 millimeter, just going to loosen the 4 bolts around the top of the seat. Already loosened the other 3. And then we're going to go into the front of the seat, and in this case just completely remove the 2 set screws that are in front, because we're going to want to lift the front of the seat up. And so there's a couple of parts involved. There's a saddle washer, a regular washer, and a lock washer, and you can keep those on. Note that the lock washer is the one that's against the head of the bolt. Get this one out as well. Alright, so since we want to get this guy out, we're going to lift the front of the seat, and these 2 bolts are in the way for that, so we're going to take them out as well. So this stack, it's a much shorter bolt, as you can see. It's got 2 washers, a nut, and then there's also a saddle washer in there. So when we put this back together, it's going to be like this. But just keep the parts nice and together. Do it again on this side. Alright, so at this point we can lift the front of the seat up enough. If we pull the seat towards us, we can actually lift it up a little bit more. We don't want to be really aggressive and bend the seat, so just kind of do it by feel, but you can definitely lift it enough to get this part out. So if we look in here, we can see that the parking brake is held in by the seat post clamp. This is just like a seat post clamp you'd have on a bike frame. So using a 4 millimeter hex key, you can loosen it. In this case, loosened it a little too aggressively, so let me put that back a little bit so I don't lose it. And then you can twist the parking brake arm out. So this is the parking brake arm. In your case, it's broken, so it probably doesn't fully look like this, but this is what the replacement arm will look like. And you can just put it back in. You could finesse twist it if you need to give it a little love with a rubber mallet. That's fine, you're not going to hurt it. Just again, be ginger with the way that you lift the seat up. So in this case, it's back in. Don't worry about the angular position just yet. Let the seat go back down. And so now we're going to start off with the bolts from the top. So first I'm going to fish the saddle washer in from underneath, get that in place. And then the bolt comes through. It's bolt head, washer, then going all the way through, and then washer and nut. So I'm going to do that again on this side. Fish the saddle washer through. I like to do it from the back. And then bolt, washer, through the saddle washer, through the frame part, and then the washer and the nut. And so now we're going to do the chain tensioning bolts. These are the longer 2. Put the saddle washer in, and then just line up, go straight through the front. And we'll have to nudge the seat forward a little bit just so it'll catch. And you'll see that it tightens. Can you get a view from underneath? It'll tighten into the weld nut that's welded on the inside of the seat. So I just want to do that a few turns, get everything lined up. And do this again. Alright, so before we get to the chain tensioning and locking everything down, just want to get the parking brake into the correct spot. So the easiest way to do this is to take a wheel and put it back on the frame. So just a note, in this case I'm working on a bike stand that you probably have in a bike shop. We use them in our shop. If you're working on the floor or without a bike stand, it's easy to do this whole thing with the wheels on. You don't have to take the wheels off to do this process, and it'll actually support the frame on the ground for you so that you can do this repair. But if you have the wheels off, put the wheel back on. and then push the parking brake until it's about a finger's width away from the wheel. And you can see that the wheel is tangent to the inner piece of the parking brake. But a good rule of thumb is to use your finger. And then once that's in the right spot, you can tighten up the seat post clamp, and that'll lock the parking brake in place. And so you can test it, make sure you get good wheel compression, locks the wheel. So that's good to go. And now I will do the normal chain tension adjustment. This is done in a bit more detail in our chain tensioning video, but since I have a captive audience, we'll just tighten this up, and just so you can see, this is a little too loose. Tighten it a little more. Yeah, that's kind of where we want to keep the chain, just a little squishy. You don't have any weird catching as you rotate around. So now I'll do the other chain tensioning adjustment bolt. Yeah. Almost there. All right, so once those bolts are in, just go and do the 4 seat bolts, and yeah, just tighten them down. It's important to drop your tools occasionally so that they know that you're in charge. And yeah, that's all you got to do. So tighten these 4, and then you should be good to go.